I welcome you to the course called Huawei ACIA Routing and Switching, and we'll be starting off with the network fundamental or network communication fundamental, as the case may be. One thing that we need to know is that from inception, um, communication has been there, and this communication has been in various ways. It could be with smoke, it could be with pebbles, it could be with bottles where informations or items are put in place and channeled through a water from one island to the other. It could be with the use of birds and so many others. That is what the communication itself. But this communication can actually what be either from uh, person to person, from place to place, or from one using one object or the other. But however, when we talk about communication in this case, we are talking about computer network communication. It's not like when we talk about telegrams, telephones, broadcast, televisions, the internet, and other forms of communication. So yeah, we talk about uh, computer network communication. So what is the communication itself? As you can see here, uh, normally with communication, many things come to fruition. But without communication, many businesses collapses. Without communication, uh, many people are stuck and they are not able to move further. If someone is actually uh, you know going to somewhere and he meets up with another, let's say Mr. A now, for example, and as Mr. B approaches him and Mr. A does not know the place and he himself doesn't know the place and Mr. A is the only person available, then the communication is not proper at that point in time. But in this case, what makes this communication proper is now between people to people, objects, or objects and object through various medias and actions. And the ultimate goal of network communication is to make our lives better as humans, and we are able to achieve a lot of things. And now a simple example, that's why you can say, to help understand what technology assisted communication is, this session provides some basic example of network communication. You can see from the first figure there, figure 1.1, we have two computers, and computer B is sending a music file or a video file MP3 to computer A. With this single line you are seeing here is a cable, a network cable or Ethernet link connecting one PC to the other. While another example is when computer B, as you can see here, is sending to computer A, as well as computer N is sending to computer A. So you can see that both sides are receiving, are sending to computer A. From computer B and computer N, computer A is able to get two files. Also, you can see, you can also download from the internet, from our phones, from our laptop, our desktop, our iPad, and other devices. You can see this cloud there. The cloud there depicts that it is an internet. Then we see a server. Take, for example, you want to download from Netflix. Netflix has a server that they've stored all their movies. Now, the moment from your own phone, let's say computer A now, or A, you are able to put on your username and password, which is VPN, virtual private network. Then from there, you connect to the internet, which is what the cloud. And this cloud has a gateway and the likes, which I will explain further for now. I don't want to bore you or confuse you more further. So it goes to what? The server of Netflix. And what? Gets that file. Let's say the file is what? AMP3. So it downloads what? The file directly from the server, and you can see it's pointing towards A. So that means the file that has been downloaded by A is going towards A, and A gets the file. And that is how you download a file from Netflix and every other site that you can download. So we just move further and explain this. Now you can see from this place, in networking, there's what we call these various terms. Like I've mentioned gateway before, but aside from gateway, there are other terms like, data payload, like datagram, like header, like trailer, like encapsulation, decapsulation, yeah, and gateway, which I've mentioned before. So basically, I will just explain a little bit. Like in what you can see here, we have item. A sender packages a phone, a mobile phone inside a box. From there, it is what? Maybe you have, let's say, a mail stand, and you put the box in there, put the address to that is the destination, because you are the sender, which is called what? The source. Then you put the address on this parcel, which is called what? The destination. Then the vehicles that are coming, we check the mail vehicle, we check it, the mail stand, to see if there are any item. It sees it, it takes it inside this lorry, this delivery vehicle, and it puts it into what? A bigger one for it to be distributed. And as they sort it out, they also sent it across. Now, before it gets to the plane, we will call this side a gateway. Now, from the plane, from the gateway, it connects to the internet, and it drops again on another gateway. So it now does the same thing. So in this process, we have a lot of what is called encapsulation and decapsulation, till it gets to the destination, which is what the parcel has been delivered, and the person that is receiving it in that destination, the address that has been put in the recipient, from the sender, as you can see here, down to the recipient. Then that person is able to receive the parcel. Finally, it has been decapsulated. Now the datagram here is talking about what? A unit of data that is switched and transferred within a network. And we can see from the diagram that this parcel itself, first of all, the item is put into a box, and this parcel is, has gone through various forms of transfer. So this whole diagram you can see can be called a network, because they are connected. And what is a network? So it is a particular, okay, let's just leave that for now. Then we now have what is called a trailer and a header. So the header is, an information, like on this first parcel that you can see here. So the header is an information that is put in front of a data payload. Now, what is the data payload? Because we have to make this, we have to break this thing down. So the data payload is the ultimate piece of information. So the header now is information added to the front of a data payload during a datagram assembly. So therefore, we have a particular destination that is going to, right? But before it gets to that destination, it has a particular address. Say you put the address, you put the phone into the box, and you now put address. where you are sending it to as 13 Kings Way, Victoria Island, Lagos. And this last side where the recipient unpacks the device is Mr. Kingsley at 13 Kingsway Road, Victoria Island, Lagos. He unpacks it. So Mr. Kingsley there to Mr. Kingsley can be said, and with his address, 13 Kingsway Road, Victoria Island, can be said to be a header. Then the trailer is also an information added at the end of it, of the data payload. And this trailer itself is not it's not used all the time, but the header, you must use it. You must put the destination where you are sending it to. That is what the header is. Then we now have encapsulation, which I mentioned, which is what? Forming new datagram by adding headers and trailers to a data payload. Why the decapsulation is the opposite of what? Encapsulation. But in this case, is what? The removal of the header and trailer from the datagram in order to retrieve the data payload. Now, in this case, the item, the phone, is what? The data payload, which is what? The ultimate piece of information or data itself. So, because the item is the most important thing, you can call it what? A data in this case. So it will be sent through what? A gateway, and that gateway is what? A network point that acts as an entry point to other networks with different architecture or protocols. Like I said, you can see this plane here. It was sent, and when it gets to this, let's say you want to send to Victoria Island, you are in Abuja. So let's say from there you send it to the post office at Guadalajara, and they take it to what? The Abuja airport. From the Abuja airport, we can call that a gateway. And as it lands in Lagos, that is what? Another gateway. Let me just explain this briefly. So when you package this item inside this parcel here, this first parcel, it is called what? Encapsulation. And when it gets to this place, to this delivery vehicle, which you can see here, before it is what? Put inside this distribution center. The courier itself, they what? Unpackage this item here and put it inside another box. As they are unpacking it, it is called what? Decapsulation, which is what? The removal of the header and trailer. And as they are repackaging it, it is called what? Encapsulation, which is what? They are what? Repackaging it. They are adding what? The header and trailer back. And they send it from the distribution center. They also what? Unpack it here and repack it back again. Before they sent it through what? The gateway, which is from Abuja down to Lagos. Then when they get to this place, they also what? Unpack it and repackage. That is decapsulation, encapsulation. And it gets to this place, decapsulation, encapsulation. Also gets to this place, which is what? Where the final decapsulation will happen from Mr. Kingsley at 13 Kingsway Road, Victoria Island, Lagos. So that is what explains this diagram. And that is what they are saying here also. Courier delivery and network communication. So we'll just scroll down. Just continue. That is the same thing here. So all this has already what we explained, but you can take your time out to read the material later. So just scroll down. So that is that about what you can see. More explanation about what? Encapsulation, decapsulation, gateway, and router. And mind you, I didn't mention a router, within this various platform. Let me go back up. They have a router. And this router is what detects the route. That it detects which place it ought to follow before it gets to the destination. And it uses what? Protocols. And well, I won't go deep into the protocol, but the protocol is the set of rules that is being what? Configured on the router that allows one to go towards various routes, or we can call that route roads, So I will just jump that and move to the bottom where we have OSI model and TCP IP model. These, for sure, these are what? Network models. They are what? Network models. And we have two of them here that you can see. The OSI model and TCP IP model are two terms commonly used in the field of network communications and are vital to understanding network communication. So, like I said, they are two of the network models, and they are very important, especially the TCP IP model, which is at the end of the day, because we have the OSI model, which consists of what? 7 layers, and the TCP IP model, which, merges some of the models of what? The OSI model. But we will go further and explain so that you understand what I'm trying to say. But the OSI model itself, OSI, which stands for what? Open Systems Interconnection. So this is used to describe the function of a network system. Like I said, they are what? Network model. So you can see it is used to describe the function of what? A network system. Then the TCP, which is what? A set of rules that governs the connection of computers, systems to the internet itself. You can see. So both of them, we just briefly explain them below. So we go further and explain OSI model. So we have all these things that are here right now, which we can see. Describe the basic content of the OSI model and TCP IP model. So sorry, I'm reading from behind. That is from the last bullet point. So, okay, let's just read. Definition and rule of a network protocol. 2, concept of network layering, which we ought to understand. Differences between the OSI and TCP model. After completing this session, you should be able to list the names of several network protocols and where no standard organizations. Describe the basic content of the OSI model and TCP model. Yes. So before we continue on the OSI or TCP IP model proper, we need to understand what is network protocol. Like I said, I mentioned what protocol before now, right? So, and the standard organizations. But the standard organizations, we can read that, by ourselves later. IEEE, and the likes. So, like I said, protocols are a series of defined set of rules and conventions in which network devices like computers, switches, and routers must comply in order to communicate. So in networking, we have devices like router, we have devices like switches, we have the computer itself, and we will see all that when we get to layering. But what is protocol? Just like in Nigeria, we speak Hausa, we speak Igbo, we speak Yoruba, we speak Efik, we speak Idoma, we speak T. That is what the protocol that the network understand. So just like we understand English, some people understand Chinese, some people understand French. That is the same thing for the network. For that, like that diagram we saw where someone packages, the sender packages a phone and send it to the receiver. Now this process of it going through this various route down to the sender, the receiver, there's a protocol, there's a language in the network that say, okay, I understand this network, this is where you are going to. That is the protocol that we are talking about here. So you can see what he said. You can look at this exchange of words as Chinese, French, and English protocols. So when you go down in network communications, protocols are a series of defined rules and conventions in which network devices like computers, switches, and routers must comply in order to communicate, which I've explained. And we can see a lot of protocols. Yeah, like we have the HTTP Hypertext Transfer Protocol, FTP File Transfer Protocol, TCP Transmission Control Protocol, IPv4 Internet Protocol version 4, IEEE 802.1, which is for the Internet Protocol, and other terms. There are many other protocols that can be used, and these protocols entails a lot. And these protocols entails a lot.